Welcome to Super Flixx, the podcast covering superhero, sci-fi, and fantasy movies. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden, and with me, as always, my podcast partner, Joe Hartley. What's up, man?
What's going on, man?
All right. We are members of the Martial Arts Network, and you can check out our other show, Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, every Thursday on the Martial Arts Network. Just look for the Martial Arts Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Joe, it's showtime. What's happening, man?
As you can see, after we finish Batman, I find the damn Batman suit. I was so mad, and it was right where I thought it was. So I don't even know how I kept missing it.
Uh-huh. Well,
Drive me
we,
crazy.
we eventually going to get to the other Batman
The Dark
movies,
Knight.
the Dark Knight series. We got that, and we got the Batman. So we got some other Batman movies we'll eventually get to. So make
I
sure
was
you
just
put that in the
laughing.
right spot.
Actually, I've never seen a good RoboCop shirt. I would buy that if I found one.
Mm, okay. I don't know what to say about that. RoboCop, the original one came out so long ago. Like we were kids. Like I know
Yeah,
I was young. That came on, I believe, 87. RoboCop came out.
that's what it says
Um,
here.
yeah, it does. It says 87. Okay, so
Yeah.
I was 10 and turning 11. One thing about that, when every time I think about a particular year, I always think, well, 87, I was 11. Well, my birthday is at the end of the year. My
Oh,
birthday's in
okay.
September. So I technically was not 11. So that's why I always have to say, I was probably 10, depending on what time of the year this movie came out, and I was turning 11 or
All right.
whatever. So that
And I
always
would have
kind of,
been 6.
yeah. So, RoboCop, I remember when it came out, it was a really really popular movie. So I know that there were merchandise for RoboCop. So
Oh yeah.
I'm quite sure there were T-shirts available and all types of stuff because it was kind of big when it first came out.
I like some of the older stuff compared to I have a Ghostbusters T-shirt, and I
Okay.
was wearing it at work, and someone literally walked by and was like, "Ghostbusters? I ain't seen that in a long time." I was
Mm.
like, "That's the point. Like Ghostbusters is, I mean, they brought it back already. They already did 2 movies, so
Actually, they did 3 movies.
oh, three. Well, that one. I mean, it wasn't as bad as everyone made it out to be, but I
No, it
like
was.
the 2 new ones, the newer
I
ones
did
better.
too.
The
I did
the
too.
other one was just fine. It just,
Yeah, it got a
everybody
lot of hate. Lots of
because
hate.
everybody freaks out anytime they switch things up.
Hmm.
Okay, they made an all woman cast. So what? It was
Hmm.
funny.
Hmm. Yeah,
People take stuff
I
too
didn't mind.
seriously.
Yeah, I didn't mind that at all when that movie came out. Um, I kind of wished what they did with that movie though. I kind of wish they continued from the original series, like they
Yeah.
did with these newer ones. This was a
Yes.
direct continuation from the movies that came out in, I think, 84, and I think the other one might have came out in, shit, what was that, 89 or 90, somewhere around that time when that second one came out. I wish the all woman cast for Ghostbusters was connected to that, but it got so much hate when it came out, and I really don't understand why. It really wasn't that bad to me. But people are.
People people want to hate when they change something dramatically
Hmm.
instead of just seeing it for what it is. It's a different movie. Go ahead and just you like it or you don't, but they had a good cast. The story was just fine, and they did a good job. It was fine.
I think a lot of times, like now, there's a lot of hate when it comes to uh superhero or sci-fi fantasy when it's women focused. I just think that audience doesn't really, a lot of people in the audience doesn't like it, because
But
I remember seeing people complain about the scene in Endgame when all of the women came together to help Captain Marvel out, whatever. And I'm like, I didn't
yeah,
care that they did it, but I see a lot of people did not like that because they felt like
but
they're trying to push the woman agenda, whatever that is.
okay. So when comics were real big back when they first started coming out, the market for comics was young boys,
Right.
older men, and
Hmm.
probably the nerd whatever.
Hmm.
And then they started becoming more mainstream, and they were making money.
Hmm.
And then they're turning around making movies. So as an entrepreneur, if you're smart, you're going to say, "Okay, we've tapped the market on the men and the
Hmm.
boys. Okay, what else can we do? Well, what's left? The women. So, no, not saying that women don't want to read comic book full of men, but some, want to, see a female lead in a comic. So, okay, give them what they want. Bring in the new market. Why not?
Right.
It's not that big a deal. It's smart. It's business smart if you think about it. And
Hmm.
so if you want to complain and be whiny about it, instead of, Big Bang Theory had a good I don't know if you ever watched that show, but it was a pretty fun, good show, and they hit on comics a lot. But
Yeah. My Melissa, she asks me all the time. She's like, I'm surprised you never watched it." I was like, "Yeah, I never did. I just never turned it on, never watched it, whatever." So maybe I will one day. Maybe I'll start at the first season and make my way through.
it's fun, and they hit on they find all the nerd culture, comic books, video games, all that stuff. And then the funny thing is I actually learn stuff watching that show sometimes. It's kind of funny.
Uh,
So, but
learn stuff about stuff that's in pop culture, like what they did with the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai thing, or
just
something about
everything,
comics.
like stuff,
Okay.
because they're all the four guys on there, like, they've all graduated high school early. They
Hmm.
all got doctorates except for one of them. Eventually he gets a doctorate, and so they're super smart, they're real brainy, and they're always working on something, but they also like all the fun, nerd stuff, video games,
Hmm.
comic books. They're always going to comic conventions and all that stuff. But yeah, it's a fun show. It's one of my favorites. I've watched it 3 times already, all the way through.
Oh wow,
Um,
really? Okay.
yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, if you have nothing going on, and you can just throw it on, and
Hmm.
it's a half-hour sitcom, and I think there's 11 seasons with like 20
Okay.
plus. So yeah, it's a fast watch. But yeah, so I enjoy that. But they talk about a lot of stuff like that as it's happening, so it's kind of funny. Um, I mean, we just talked yesterday. Not much going
Yeah.
on right now. Right now, the biggest thing I got going on is we're moving my aunt tomorrow. She's got the Alzheimer's dementia,
Mm,
early stages. So we're moving her out of her place into an apartment that she can get some care, and people check in on her, and not have to worry about her. So we're
mhm.
doing that right now, and I'm helping my mom out because she's been kind of struggling with it a little bit. She went through that with my dad already
Mm,
for a few
okay.
years, so now I think it's kind of bringing back some of that.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to help her out because she she's a little stressed about it. So we're doing that right now. So once we get past that, everything will calm down again, and then we'll take care of her and visit her and make sure she's doing okay.
Okay. All right.
And
Cool.
then next week I guess is the end of the school year. So my wife's she's trying to wrap things up. The kids are
Oh,
getting ready to wrap everything up and
it's time
take
for you
some
to go.
finals.
It's time for you to go back in and help her clean up her classroom, huh?
You know what? Because her mom and stepmom have actually been really helping out. So all I got to do is load the car at the end of one of these days. Just
Okay.
load the car with whatever she has for me. Maybe pick up some of the bigger things, and I'm good to go. So I'm very fortunate in that. But yes, I learned my lesson 2 years ago. Just smile and say okay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I mean, today she forgot to get she had to get like 100 paper bags, and I don't know if you ever go into Aldi, but that's the best
Yeah.
way. They
Yeah.
got you just grab a stack of them, 12 cents a piece. So I just grabbed 100 of them, took them up to the guy. I said, "You can count them out if you want," but I was like, I did my best to try and count them. He goes, good. 100 sounds good. I
Mm.
was like, it was only like it wasn't even $10 basically.
Right.
So I was like,
Right.
you know, and then so I brought those and dropped those off to her today, and yeah, she's just wrapping it up, and I think they got field day tomorrow, so that should be fun.
Okay. All right.
And that's all I got really.
All right. Yeah. If you want to know what else Joe got going on, make sure you check out Fist Kicks and Flicks, where he went in a little bit more detail about some other things that's going on. So, hey,
Yeah.
man. So, you see this? My wife got me this.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a number 8 with a snake going through it. Right. That's Kobe,
Yeah.
Black Mamba.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Okay.
this was the anniversary gift. So
Nice.
Isaiah Thomas, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, those were my favorite, basketball players, NBA players, man. So I saw that for Kobe, and
That's a good
I, I
group.
can't I can't decide if I want to wear this out all the time or not because it's so nice. So I have it on display in my office here. In a little case or whatever. So I figured I looked at it. I was like, you know what? I haven't talked about this yet. So let me throw this on. But I can't decide if I want it to be decoration or if I want to wear it or not. So
Wear it. Enjoy
I,
it.
I think I might wear it this weekend at the tournament though. When the kids
There you
competing,
go.
got to have that Mamba mentality. But this
Yeah.
shirt, Death Row, Death Row was my favorite record label. And when I was doing music, I wanted to be on Death Row. Right, that was the label I wanted to. Thank God I never made it to being on Death Row Records. Thank God.
We might not be talking right now.
We probably, yeah, because I know how I am, and I'm not going for all that bullshit that they had to go through. There would have been some
Hmm.
altercations. But the funny thing about that is, I don't know if I ever told you. Did I ever tell you that me and Ski actually were supposed to do business with a particular record label? And when I tell you this label, you're gonna laugh and say, "Thank God." It
I
was
think you've mentioned it before, and yeah, we'll talk
okay.
about it later, but
So
I'm pretty sure I know who it is.
it's Bad Boy. It was Bad Boy, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Bad Boy. So thank God, another one dodged another bullet. I wasn't on Bad Boy, especially now what the hell Puff got going on. Thank God.
Oh man.
And
Well,
listen, check this out. So we
you
had
would have
a.
been in and out of that one real quick.
Don't say that. Don't say I would have been. And I'm not in and out of shit. I would have been.
No, I'm saying you would have been like, all right, sweet, we got oh no, we're done. That's the end of that. Breaking that contract.
Yeah, I just have to clarify that because people could take that in and out a whole nother
Nah,
way.
man.
but
That's not what I meant at all. No.
so we had a direct line to Puff because Puff used to come to Detroit all the time, right? And him and Big, one of the people that he used to hang with was one of the guys from Alkebulan.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so Rico used to do stuff with Bad Boy back in the early '90s. So he got Puff's number. Well, he had Puff's number, and he gave it to Ski. And he said, "Give him a call." I know you guys working on the demo. So I remember that this was '95 because '94 I wasn't rapping. I was just making beats at that time. So in '95 in college, so in high school, Ski had a group that he was part of called the PPGs. So when we went to college, he wanted to keep rapping, but his group didn't come up with him. So all I was doing was making beats. So he said, he asked me, he's like, learn how to rap. I'm gonna teach you how to rap, make the beats, and then I'll do most of the rapping on the album. So I said, okay, cool. So when he spoke to Rico, Rico told him like, hey, Puff is interested in talking to you. Here's his number. So Ski called the office and Puff answered the phone and he spoke with them and he was like, cool, I'm interested in listening to y'all. Send me the demo tape. So I have pictures of me and Ski working on the demo tape, right? Thank God we procrastinated and did not send that damn tape in. Think about everything that this is 95. This is before everything popped off with Big. Big and Tupac weren't yet beefing at this time yet. So this is before that happened and everything. Like, oh man, thank God I wasn't involved in any of that. And
But
we
could you
dodged it.
imagine? Because I see it going like you and Ski get into a situation, and I
Mm-hmm.
see like one of y'all jump, spin, and hook kick this dude right in the head,
It would
and
have
then
been,
you're gonna be on the news, local
yeah,
karate and kids.
yeah, that would have, yeah, that would have went left, man, because me and Ski definitely wouldn't have been dealing with the shit that some other people like. We weren't pressed like that. Like we weren't two kids that desperately needed to be rappers or anything like that. We had a lot of other stuff going on, So, so we did like a 3-song demo tape, and we did some performances for it and everything. And we actually had a meeting with Andre Harrell back in '95, summer '95, that my dad tried to hooked up for us with that, and we had a couple things, but we just took our time and we just never, thank God, and that had to been God, man. We never sent the damn tape to Puff, but he was expecting it. We had the address and everything, man. We probably could have just made the appointment and took it directly to him, man. Thank God
Yeah,
procrastination prevented that from happening. So So we were not at any freak offs, but I have been at a puff party though. I did go to a puff party, and
You
it
did.
was
You talked about that.
it
Was it
was
on this show
nothing.
or the other show that you talked about
Yeah, it
that
was on
on?
Fist Kicks and Flicks. Yeah, it was on Fist Kicks and Flicks.
I thought
That's all.
so.
Yeah, but I left at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't see the after party or any of the events or anything like that. So anyway, let's talk about RoboCop. Man, let's get into it. I'm gonna tell you this right now, Joe. I did not like this movie. I'm not a fan of
Really,
RoboCop. Ah, no, not at
really.
all. Not
Oh, I'm
at
interested
all.
to hear about that.
I'm interested now. I'm kind of interested in seeing the updated version of it. I'm ready to get
Me
through,
too.
RoboCop
I don't
two and
think I
three.
ever watched. I don't think I watched the 2014 one.
Oh, I know I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't.
and I
And
heard good things about it.
I hope it's good. I hope it's a lot better than this one because man, this kind of pushed my limits as far as taking me out of the story, man. Because I mean, it was just some stuff. This was a little bit too far fetched for me. I was like, come on, I'm not
Mm,
buying it.
1987, and they were trying to create like a futuristic type of
Yeah. So
thing.
that's another thing, man. This is supposed to be Detroit, which
Yeah,
it had no Detroit streets, even though they're talking about streets. Like, how hard would it have been to find out actual streets in Detroit and then name the streets after that, right?
lazy. They're just lazy.
Nothing even resembled Detroit. They didn't record. They didn't make the movie here. It didn't seem like it if they did anything. Nothing about this movie said Detroit at all. I just had a lot of issues with that, and even the creation of RoboCop, I had a problem with. That was ridiculous to me. Um, but it also kind of made me think about the discussion me, you, Angel, and Jeff was having because they were kind of saying RoboCop is not really a superhero. After seeing this, he absolutely like this was a superhero origin story. A,
Yeah,
a bunch of superheroes are created in this form or fashion, So I still kind of see him as a superhero, you know.
yeah.
But
I do.
yeah, this movie was yeah, man, it was kind of rough. I hope 2 and 3 gets a little better. And even the CGI, it was special effects back then. The CGI was goofy. And I'm thinking like, okay, this is 87. The CGI and special effects for Back to the Future were fine, and that was 85. Star Wars were fine, and that was the early 80s. I think the first one was in 78. So I didn't really understand why this movie special effects were the way that it was. I wasn't feeling it at all.
Yeah, so this movie starts off with like a news show,
Hmm.
and they're like I said, they're trying to be like real futuristic, but they don't have the technology to be as futuristic as they're trying to be.
Did they say what year this was supposed to be in? Because I thought I might have
What
missed it. If they said it at the very, very beginning, I missed
if
it. If
they
they
did? I didn't see it. I didn't see
Okay,
it.
because
But
that kind of threw me off too. Because I was like, wait a minute, is this the future or now? Like, what's happening?
yeah, I was trying to figure that out too. But I mean, with the way they were talking about, this is stuff that we didn't get till late in life. They're talking about like um robot, not robotic, but like mechanical hearts,
Hmm.
and they're talking about robots. And I mean
Hmm.
that big ass robot that the first guy was trying to pass off that wasn't a RoboCop, like that was you were not making that in 87. That looked like something out of Star Wars.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. And I'm
That
thinking
looked
like
like
that
an
big ass.
AT-AT.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like this big ass thing wouldn't be able to fit in a building. Like how did they get that thing in the building? They did they even get it in an elevator? Like that
Yeah, he looked like
that
he
thing.
should have been busting walls Kool-Aid style.
Yeah, it should have been like in a garage, and everybody had to come down to the garage to see what he had. But this thing came out of like the back room, came walking out. It looks stupid.
Or and he was on the top floor, so he had to go up an elevator.
That's what I'm saying. Like that thing ain't getting in the elevator.
No. The my favorite part about this whole movie, because I totally forgot. I remember watching this movie and thinking the main bad guy was such a badass. And then now that I watch it, I'm going, it's red. It's Red from that '70s show.
Oh, I didn't see that '70s show. So, oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
Kurtwood
that was the
Smith.
dad. That was the dad.
Yeah, the
Okay.
dad who literally his number one thing is he calls everyone a dumbass, and he
Okay.
doesn't just say, "Oh, you're a dumbass." He literally goes, "Dumbass,"
Hmm.
and so
Did he say
I
that? Did
can't.
he say that in this?
No, I wish he did. I wish he did. I would have died. I would have died. But it's so funny because literally, I remember the first time I saw this thinking, wow, that guy's scary looking. He's creepy. And he's so, cutthroat. And now all
Mhm.
I can see is Red Foreman from that '70s show just calling everyone a dumbass. And it took me right out of it because I was like, oh, I
You
can't
can't
take
take him
this guy
seriously.
serious. I
Yeah,
can't. I
yeah.
couldn't take it serious the
I hate
whole
when that
time.
happens.
Every time they showed his face, I'm like, dumbass. So I'm dying at that point, but it was just funny how far he's come, and
Right.
I guess his range. So the movie, like I said, we start off with this weird like news conference. They're talking about a possible police strike, which you know, what's crazy to me. Okay, so I'm a part of a union at the post office.
Hmm.
We have a no strike clause. My wife is part of the teachers union, no strike clause. So you
I've
have
seen
to
both
work.
of them go on strike though.
The post office apparently hasn't been, and uh, so this must be a newer thing, maybe, because I've said all the time, like our litigation for our contracts can go for a year and a half sometimes,
Hmm.
and I'm like, man, I literally tell my steward all the time, I'm like, but if we all just walked out for like 2 days, that I bet you that would speed up the process
Yeah,
because
and they would
nothing
have
would
to
get
resolve
out.
that. Yeah, they would have to resolve it. And it's not like you guys are replaceable. They can't call
Yeah,
up uh one of those temporary services and have someone
no,
people come in. No, they wouldn't be able
it's
to do
not going
that
to
at
happen.
all. No.
And so I'm watching this going, can police strike? Like, can the police actually go on strike?
I don't think I know teachers have gone on
Because
strike. I
the
thought
the
I've seen the post office, but maybe I haven't seen you guys. But no,
the
police
the
cannot go on
chaos
strike.
the chaos that would ensue in any given area would be, especially Detroit, would be insane.
Yeah, yeah.
So that to me is insane. Because I mean, this one, I mean, granted they have RoboCop, but they eventually do get to going on
Robot
strike.
can't be everywhere
No, that's the
at
problem.
24/7. You know,
And I'm trying to think in two or three. I think he gets a jetpack in one of those,
sounds
so
about
he
right.
can travel faster. Anyhow,
I'm almost positive he does in that new one. I think I saw him with one in the newer movie.
I know in one of the movies I've seen him with it. So we get um RoboCop, and what's the guy's name? Peter?
The guy who
When he,
you talking about Murphy?
be, oh, Murphy, yeah. Murphy shows up his first day on the job. He transferred over from another precinct,
Hmm.
and he meets his partner Lewis. That's her last name. What did they
Yeah.
say her first name?
If they did, yeah, I think they did. But for the rest
They,
of the
I
movie,
mean, they
she
always
just kept,
called her Lewis
yeah.
and Lewis. So literally when he first meets her, like a prisoner got loose and she's messing him up. So she's this you know typical kind of you know cute little badass bitch. She's popping her gum and she don't take no crap from nobody.
Hmm.
And then Murphy, we don't know much about Murphy because we know he's got a family, he's got a kid. There's a point where she's goes into the store and brings out like they're having their lunch or whatever, and he's twisting his gun and putting it in the holster. And she's like, "Oh, that's pretty fancy." And he said, "Oh, it's some stupid, character his son likes on the TV." So that's
Hmm.
like Ranger Rick I don't even remember what it was,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. So and then later on, he that's like his thing as RoboCop. So he starts he still keeps some of his stuff going on. Um, so they drive off to work their beat, and then we go over to this I'm assuming a robotics company. Is it Intron or Entron or something like
Oh,
that?
I did not try and remember the name of that company.
It'll come up. I know they mention it a few times. Anyhow, they're having a meeting, and this I think his name is Bob Morton. He's presenting his security bot, and he was briefly on the newscast at the beginning, talking
Hmm.
about this security. So this is his chance to present the prototype. And like I said, it's this big ass robot. Looks very complicated. It actually looks kind of clumsy. Like, to
Hmm.
me, I just don't understand like why you made this thing so damn big and huge. And I mean, I guess you want it to be scary, but he's so proud of it. And they got this big controller. And so they activate it, and he gives one of his like associates, I'm assuming, a gun and tells him to point it at the, I forget what he called it, the T-1000 or some B crap,
Hmm.
bull crap. I know that's not what it's called because that's Terminator, but whatever. Well, whatever it's called, he tells them point the gun at it. The machine tells them to to put the gun down, and he
Hmm.
listens, of course, because it's got two big ass guns on the side. And the machine still treats him like he has a gun. So
Yeah.
obviously there's a malfunction. And,
Right.
and this is in front of his boss, and this, I mean, there's like 25 people here,
Yeah. Yeah.
at least,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Hmm.
So, and basically, this guy's running around the whole room now because this thing's going to shoot him in 10 seconds. And everyone else is like, get the hell away from me. I don't want to be collateral damage. So he gets shot by this big ass thing. But the crazy thing is, like, nobody really flinches about that.
No.
This guy
No.
gets shot
A
like
bunch of times.
a
There,
lot.
there shouldn't have been a body left because he. It wasn't like that. This guy just had a gun. Like, that was an automatic weapon.
Well, and
Two of them.
it opened up his whole chest.
Yeah, he shouldn't.
And so of course,
It shouldn't have been anything left of him.
okay, but the people, somebody should have been arrested for this, man.
Yes.
Like, I don't
Matter of
know,
fact,
they
the
just
the
blew it
company.
off as a glitch.
Yeah, the company should have been out of business at this point because this guy's family would have sued this company. They would have lost everything. Everything would have been gone. There was no purpose in still working or showing up tomorrow. Everybody's a witness. Everybody's, you know, that would have been the end of this business if this was real.
Yes. So this younger associate who's kind of been waiting for his turn steps up and pitches his RoboCop idea.
Hmm.
And so, as we know, RoboCop is you take an injured, like severely injured cop, or
Hmm.
maybe they said cop, military, somebody with combat experience, knows how to use a gun, and you turn them into a cyborg.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I guess their next part of their plan is to find a subject.
Hmm. Now this
Well,
is where I had, yeah, and this is where I start having a problem with this whole thing.
they don't have to wait too long because, like I said, now after this guy pitches his RoboCop idea, because the other Bob's idea went to shit, all of a sudden he gets a chance to step up for the RoboCop program. And like I said, we go back to Lewis and Murphy, and they get a call for this bad guy that they were showing at the beginning, Clarence.
Hmm.
That's the other thing that was killing me. Clarence is not a good bad guy name.
No, well, I guess they didn't really think about that.
Oh my god, killing me. So yeah, so Clarence he set up some kind of heist. So they send the police after him. The police follow his, they're shooting at each other, and they follow him to like this warehouse, or it's always a warehouse. They
Always.
follow him to this warehouse. They call for backup, but the way they make backup sound, it sounds like backup's going to take forever.
Well, yeah, because remember, the police aren't happy with their contract, and they're thinking at this point in time, the police haven't gone on strike yet. They're thinking about going on strike. because
Yeah.
so many people, so many officers are dying every day because it's bad. I hate to say this.
Yeah,
In this
the
movie, it's
newscast
bad.
at
It's
the
so bad in
beginning.
Detroit.
Yeah, the newscast at the beginning says 3 police officers critically injured are dead. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's about
So
to be 4 because now this part is crazy because, like I said, they're supposed to be waiting for backup, but Lewis decides it's a good idea for her and Murphy. First day on the job, they got no chemistry together. They barely know each other. But hey, yeah, let's go take out this number one bad guy, top of the list, and his 5 buddies or whatever.
right.
So of course they split up, which was dumb. And she runs into this guy who's taking a piss, and he disarms her.
Hmm.
You got a guy with his dick in his hand, and you disarmed him. You got
but,
disarmed.
but
What kind of police work is this?
well, Lewis was probably distracted. Maybe Lewis hasn't had any in a while, so she didn't.
I
She
don't
maybe
know,
she was
man.
mesmerized.
I guess. So then the crazy thing is Murphy walks in, and he walks in on the rest of them, or so he thinks, because he shoots one, which also takes out the TV, which is kind of funny. He he tells the one guy to put his gun down, but how many people are there? You don't even pay attention to your surroundings.
Hmm.
That's the whole point of having a partner, because now Clarence comes out of nowhere and messes him up, and now he's point blank. He's gonna die.
So now this is my part. This was just so dumb, man. So they shoot him up in the body. One thing they blow his arm off or his hand one because they did it
Yeah,
real
the hand.
fast.
Yeah, they all got shotguns.
Yeah, so they blow his arm off. Then they proceed to shoot him up. Like, man, like he has huge holes in him and he's still alive at this point because he's just sitting there screaming as they're shooting him. And
Well, they're
then
shooting
Clint,
him, and he's got a vest on. They're shooting through that vest.
yeah, and that's why I'm saying like he should have been dead then because it
Yeah,
just he could have bled out just because they shot his arm off. He shouldn't have been alive after that anyway. But on top of
no,
that,
true.
they shoot him all to hell, and then on top of that, he gets shot in the head. So to me, it seemed like the creators overdid it. He should not
Yes.
have been able to survive this at
I
all. He
agree.
should have been he should have died on the spot. There's no way that by the time the backup came and the ambulance came that he should have even still been alive. He should have been dead. He should have been gone.
Well, and the worst part is, like you said, they were torturing him. They were shooting him every which way, knees and chest, and finally in the head. Took off his hand, and Lewis, when she finally catches up, it's all too late. Like she's walking in, he's blowing to shreds.
Hmm.
So she just watches from behind a cage.
So now this was my next issue, right? He pretty much dies or gets shot up the same way that executive got shot up. So the next thing that happens is, for whatever reason, they take this guy's body and they put him inside of, or they make the Robocop. Why
Yeah,
didn't they not take the guy who had got shot up in the office and make him Robocop? He
because he
was.
was just a. They were looking for someone
It doesn't
like who was
matter.
already a. I know, but
It doesn't matter because to me it seems like the only thing RoboCop really was a head, a face. Everything else was he didn't need to be a. I mean, this damn robot could have did this without even being human, in my opinion. Like, what was the purpose of that?
now what I want to know is who said it was okay. Did he agree to this? Be a
No,
part of this program?
no, they just did it. They didn't. They did not give us any explanation. They didn't
That's
even
what I'm saying. So
explain. They didn't even explain how they were able to revive him because they shouldn't have been able to. He got shot point blank in the head after getting shot up in his body. There's no way he could have even survived that. If he did, they should have been able to make the other guy survive.
I think he's brain dead. Is the idea?
Well, the other guy should have been brain dead as well. Like you have two bodies right there, two fresh bodies that are dead. You know, I didn't. I have no idea how they were even able. They didn't even explain how he was able to wake back up. They didn't
Yeah.
say it at all.
So the whole time they're trying to revive him and save what they can to turn him into RoboCop. He's having flashbacks of the incident. He's having flashbacks of his family. He's having flashbacks of his uh the TV show TJ Laser,
Hmm.
spinning the gun. So, he's still in there. And later on we're gonna see, like, even when he's RoboCop, he's still kind of in there.
Hmm.
Yeah, my biggest thing was they really should have given us an explanation of how they were just able to turn him into RoboCop. Because I
Yeah,
feel
we got none.
like that would be something I would have to sign, like, if I die. Which,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, like, I don't want to die and become a cyborg. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. Like imagine if they did that with Captain America, the first Avenger movie. Like imagine that he dies when he was a little small guy, and then the next thing we know, we see him, he's big without any explanation. That's like that. That's some pretty bad storytelling.
So Murphy, basically, they're done trying to revive him. You think, oh, did he die? And then all of a sudden he's waking up, and they got drills and their computers, and they're fixing his mask and all this crap. And then it's not doctors around him, it's the robot place, and they're talking to him like he's just a piece of hardware.
And why isn't it doctors? Like this guy was married. I'm
Yeah.
quite sure Murphy's wife should have signed off on this. They just took
And that's
his
the only
body
thing
and
that
just did whatever.
that's the only thing that makes sense. And they get to, like, New Year's Eve, they get, everyone's having a party, and then I guess a couple days later it's the big reveal,
Now
because
let me ask you
now
this: Did
he's
did they
walking around the police precinct.
did they say how much time passed?
No.
See, that's another thing I had an issue with because later on, when he goes back to his house, it looked like it had been vacant for a while.
Yeah.
And when he started finding out about his wife, he finds out that they moved and moved on. So this didn't just happen like a couple days ago or last week.
And
Evidently, it had some time had passed.
I know in the second movie, I think the wife even is already remarried.
Yeah, that's what it kind of sounded like in this movie because they said that she moved on. So
And I
like,
know the second movie, he starts to kind of stalk her a little bit, and she gets upset about it. Not creepy stalker, but he starts driving by the house, and he's kind of checking on the family, and she gets upset, and she has to call the police, or I know it's something like that. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but
yeah,
I know that.
that's absolutely stalking.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, everything was just tore away from him, and then they thought they wiped his mind, but apparently, even later in this one, he's dreaming
Hmm.
and
And
he's
that was
got
so
brain
fake.
activity. I know,
That.
but he's got such brain activity and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, they're taking him out for a test run. Um, they get him in the shooting range, and everybody's kind of watching. And he's got his own little charging station. And for whatever reason, instead of just giving him a normal gun, they give him this weird, like, big ass, right. It's not even a rifle. It's a regular gun. It's twice the size of like a Glock or something. But
Hmm.
the thing shoots like a damn AK.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
And the
and he
other
has
officer should
these.
have been like, "How come we can't have one of those too?"
I don't know that a regular person could shoot that gun. Honestly, there. Hold on, I want to see his directives. So they got prime directives that he's supposed to follow, and there's three of them. It's serve the public trust, protect the innocent, and uphold the law. And then there's another one later where he can't hurt, like, it's a
Hmm.
fourth directive that he doesn't know about until he tries to break it, where he can't hurt anybody that belongs to the company that made him.
Hmm.
And so that comes into play later because,
Hmm.
like, he can't override it. He tries
Hmm.
to, but he can't. So,
Hmm.
all right. No, I'm trying to think. The young guy is Bob, and the other guy's name is Richard or Dick, right? I think that's what it is.
I
Yeah.
really don't remember.
The RoboCop guy is Bob. He's the young one, Bob Morton, and the other guy's Dick Jones. So, like I said, he's shooting this big old gun, and everybody stops their shooting to watch him shoot this big old gun. And he's shooting like a regular, those paper
Hmm.
targets. And he's like the whole time. I mean, this is like a wooden target, and it's like just destroying everything.
Hmm. And
So,
everybody's
but then
watching in amazement.
the crazy thing is, so this gun is destroying this target, but then later to save somebody, he shoots one bullet. How do you shoot one bullet when this thing is shooting like 10 at a time? It seems like
Mm. This was my thought as I'm watching
it's
this.
got
I
like a
said,
rapid fire on it.
no, no, I'm not even talking about the gun, man. I was like, how come RoboCop couldn't have just been like an exosuit that these police officers put on or got inside? Because now you still could have did everything that you needed to do without, you know, that would have made more sense as the creation of
Honestly,
RoboCop to me.
because they want to control it.
Well,
They want the credit. They
yeah,
want to control it
I guess. I guess.
because
But see, this was the issue. The main issue with the police department was they got tired of people dying. So if you
yeah,
made this as a suit of armor where these cops could have got in, they would have felt more secure. And then like Murphy could have been like the first test subject for this exosuit, like almost like Iron Man, like an Iron
yep.
Man suit or whatever. That to me would have made more sense, and I could have bought it. But him dying and all of a sudden coming back and having not having a memory and all that shit, I just couldn't buy it, man. But go ahead.
That company really, the company wants the credit. They want
Well, they
to
could
say
still have
we're
the
the
credit.
ones.
I mean, they still
Mm,
could have had it, the credit. They
because they're just upgrading gear. They want to say we're the ones helping to serve and protect. And their original goal, I think, at the beginning wasn't just a police force. I think they were looking for military. They
yeah,
were looking to
yeah,
make like RoboCop military,
yeah. I think so.
which would be insane. Could you imagine? Nobody would mess with America if we had a whole thing of RoboCops or even Iron Man.
Uh, I don't know, man. That's started to make me think about Attack of the Clones, Star Wars
Yeah,
movies. We had all those
yeah.
little robots, you know.
So the funny thing is, RoboCop, shows off his shooting skills, and then all of a sudden he's like, "All right, give me a car."
Yeah,
Really? Okay. And he's like, he's ready to work a beat. And his first thing that, there's a liquor store getting robbed, and he runs in, bends the gun, throws the guy. I don't even think he put handcuffs on the guy. He just threw him, and so someone gonna come pick that guy up or what?
I don't know. I
Or
thought
did he throw him
RoboCop.
in the back of the truck?
I thought RoboCop should have just had wheels on the bottom of his feet, so he could just roll around. Like, why? Like, you're a
Right?
robot. Like, why do you need a car? Like, why do you need to be in comfort?
I agree. I didn't think about that, but you're not wrong. So then like his next act is two guys are messing with this girl, they're cutting her hair, and obviously it looks like they're gonna,
Yeah,
take away her innocence.
yeah,
And he saves her by because they have her with a knife to her throat, and he tells the guy to back off. Like, if RoboCop rolled up on me, I'd be stopping what I'm doing and get the hell. That's like Batman. Like,
yeah,
I'm done. Bye.
yeah. Because
I'm done. No
I'm
more
thinking.
crime for today.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because if anybody is walking around in a suit like that, I'm thinking they're crazy. And there's no
Yeah.
telling what they're going to do to me. So I'm probably leaving them alone and doing what they're saying, just like you said.
And I mean, this guy has a knife to this girl, and he literally shoots a perfect, he's got a targeting system that is like very accurate. So he just shoots one bullet through her dress and
Hmm.
kills the guy, or shoots the
Yeah,
guy in the leg, I guess.
yeah.
And the other guys, he sees that and he's like, "Yeah, I'm done. I'm out."
Hmm.
And then she runs up like, "Oh, my hero."
Hmm.
So I don't know. That's a little much, but yeah, whatever. And so yeah, that's his, I'm sure he did more that day, and then he shows back up, and there's reporters and police and
Hmm.
everything, and
And everybody wants
there's
to know about RoboCop.
he shows up to another scene. I guess there's someone at the mayor's office is upset, so he's got everyone at gunpoint, and so he tells the guy running the show, keep him talking.
Mm. That's another thing. When yeah, go ahead, tell this part because this is stupid too. RoboCop, RoboCop just committed murder.
He's following his prime directive because he literally walks up. He goes to the other building,
Hmm.
and he apparently he's got something. Superman, he can see through the wall, so
Hmm.
he's looking at heat signatures through the wall. He
Hmm.
finds the one guy with a gun and just grabs him through the wall and throws him
Yep.
out
Busts
the
through the
window.
wall, grabs him. Yep. And throws him out the window. Now, when we see this guy talking to the police, we know he's high up. He's not on the first floor. He is, I don't know, maybe third or fourth floor, something like that. He's up pretty high. So when
They didn't make
RoboCop,
it look like he died though.
they
It
don't
looked
show
like second
anything,
floor. No,
huh?
but I mean,
They
it looked
they
like
show
second floor.
even second floor. If somebody throws
Yeah,
me out of the window, I'm going to be messed
he
up.
was messed up. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
messed up.
or broken neck. The way he fell, how he
Yeah,
fell out the window, he had to land on his head. You
but
know,
they made RoboCop out to be a hero though, because I mean,
yeah,
anything else that would be police brutality.
yeah. But well, this
But
guy was threatening to kill the
no, I
mayor,
know.
and
Yeah,
the different things like this guy is demanding he's demanding a recount because he lost an election. He's demanding a recount. He wants
uh,
a different
sounds like
car.
someone else we know.
he's,
Ah,
he's demanding a recount. He wants a bigger office. I'm like, dude, what makes you think you're gonna get? Even though the police are telling him he's gonna get these things, he's an idiot for believing it because
of course
there's
he
no way
is.
there's no way you're gonna get this stuff, and like they're just gonna
Uh,
forget you held these hostages and you got a gun to the mayor of
well,
Detroit. No,
the next scene they got RoboCop hanging out with kids.
yeah, yeah. Now, if I'm one of the executives, I'm not letting this thing around kids because I saw what happened to the other guy, and all I know is this is still a machine, and accidents can happen. I'm going
So
to protest that as much as I can.
at this point, Bob's really starting to feel himself. His RoboCop program's going real well. Dick's program didn't go so well, and he, like I said, they're in this fancy executive bathroom talking all kinds of junk. And I guess everybody else knew except for Bob that Dick was in the toilet because everybody left and just left Bob hanging there. So of course Dick's going to come and try to play alpha male and tell Bob, you think you're on top right now, but don't worry, that can end real quick. And he's not afraid of Dick. He's like, dude, hey, you
Well, he's
tried, you failed, I'm out.
yeah,
Get
yeah,
out of
and
here.
yeah. Dick is a higher ranking person than him,
Yes,
so he's a little bit jealous of that also.
I get it. I
Hmm.
mean, but Bob should have cooled down because you know this could bite you in the ass later.
Hmm.
Because Dick does not seem like he's a very nice person.
No, not at all. And he's pretty much threatening Bob.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. So, and I mean, he worked really hard on this Ed 2000 program or whatever it was. So, I mean, he's just not going to let it go. And the
Hmm.
funny thing is, they do. He still has um his project still going. So they're trying to work out the bugs, which is insane to me. I mean, I don't know how much money they put into that, but that thing literally just shot someone in a building, and RoboCop's out here playing hero. Like, you should let that
Right.
dream go.
Right.
I don't know. That's crazy. So this comes to the part, like I told you, RoboCop's charging up, and there's a lot of brain activity. He's having dreams. He's trying to figure out like who he is and what he missed out on, who who Murphy was. He's starting to have Murphy's dreams. He doesn't understand, and he just gets up and walks away, and everyone's freaking out.
I
They
hated
want to
that part.
wipe. They want to wipe his memory.
I hated that part because it seemed so fake how he woke up. He started having these dreams and he's shaking and he's looking from side to
Yeah.
side. And I absolutely hated that part, man. It seemed so fake.
Well, then it didn't help because he walked right into Lewis, and she used his name
Mm.
instead of calling him RoboCop, and
Mm-hmm.
that set him off because now he knows his name. He starts, he's got a whole database in his head, so he can figure out who Murphy is and go,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So we're like, oh, where's he going? Well, he goes to his former house, and he's looking around and all that
You know what?
to
And I'm
try and
looking at
figure
the
out what
house.
happened.
So it looks like you said, it's the future. So they have like a robot realtor inside. In every room, there's like a
Yeah,
television
TV.
set. Yeah, and somebody comes on and explaining the different features of that particular room. And I'm like, okay, so obviously somebody has been in there and set this all up. Why is it garbage in there? Why is trash being left in there? Why is other
So
things from their past still in it? That house should have been cleaned out and looked perfect. That
I
was
agree.
stupid.
Uh, on his way to the house, to Murphy's house, Robocop runs into the gas station being robbed, and it's one of the guys that had killed Murphy. So he
Hmm.
this sets him up. Now the crazy thing to me is, uh, the guy recognizes Murphy even though it's Robocop. Which I
Hmm.
how?
No,
Because he's
I
like
don't know.
he's going, "You're dead. We killed you." Blah
Yeah,
blah. It's like
because all the only reason you would even know that this is RoboCop is if he had this mask all the way off. Because other than that,
yes.
it's not like he has the body of Murphy at all. All he is a face. He's not even a whole head of Murphy. All it is just the face of Murphy. So
Well, the
he should not have recognized him one bit.
no, and the even crazier, the gas station blows up, which I kept thinking like, dang, um, what happened to that college kid, man?
You I don't I
Did he
thought
get out
I thought
or
he
did he
ran
blow up with
away.
the gas station? I hope so.
I thought he ran away.
So we find out, like I said, more of Murphy's coming forward, and he wants revenge. He's telling this guy like, "Who are you?" He wants to know who the other people are. So he goes back to the precinct, and he pulls a R2D2 and hooks up to the system, and gets all the information about the people that had killed him and who he was. And so
Hmm.
now, he's getting all these associates, and now he's going after all these people, which I'm sure they don't want him to do because their idea is for him to just, listen and follow his directives. But now he's kind of gone off on his own mission.
Yeah, exactly. He has his own mission. He's trying
He's
to
got his own agenda.
yeah, he wants revenge for them killing him.
I mean, and of course, because I mean, you took his whole life away, and now he's just this, this product of this company. And then we go to Bob, who's having a nice little party, some coke, some 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 pros. I'm assuming. Take that how you will.
Yep.
But who shows up but Clarence?
Hmm.
Good old Clarence, with a CD and a message from Dick.
Hmm.
So Dick hired Clarence to take Bob out.
How did he even know who he was?
I don't know, man.
Like, how did Dick even know who Clarence was?
The crazy,
I was thinking like he must have been working for him this whole time.
I guess, or he just knew how to get a hold. I don't know. This guy, I guess he swims in these deep waters. Who knows? But Clarence walks in, shoots Bob in the leg, plays the CD, and then he creepingly opens a grenade with his mouth, puts it on the table, and walks away.
Hmm.
So yeah, and
Yeah,
this it's just weird.
yeah.
But
He didn't care for any neighbors because he knew this thing was going to blow up. He didn't care about any surrounding anything.
now this next part, we got Clarence showing up at this big building where it looks like they're making drugs. So this must be, I think this is how Bob knows because it looks like there's not just um gangsters in here, but like some of them are the police on the take.
I'm not sure. I don't really remember.
Me neither, but I'm guessing this has to be how Dick knows Clarence,
Okay.
because their act, Clarence is basically saying, "Hey, you do your job, I do my job." Everybody, they try to turn on Clarence, but there's a big showdown, and then everybody says, "Hey, let's just make some money and move on with our lives." Whatever. He even mentions a Tigers game, but then of course Robocop shows up. How did Robocop show up? I have no idea.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's just taking gangsters and drug dealers out left and right. Following, he's really trying to go after Clarence. That's who he wants, and he gets a hold of Clarence, but Clarence gets away after he throws him through a window. So, he reminds Clarence he's a cop, and then we find out at the same time when he takes Clarence to the precinct is about to strike.
Yeah. And Clarence gets out.
So yeah, Clarence gets out. I'm sure it's because of
It's
Dick. I
because
guess
yes, yeah. It's because of
he
Dick.
uh he has a long reach. So when RoboCop finds that out, he goes to talk to Dick, who he can't do anything to him because, like I said, this is at this point he realizes he has a fourth directive he didn't know about that was hidden, and he was going to arrest him because he had a tape of Clarence admitting that Dick set up Bob and killed
Yeah.
Bob.
So this was my issue with RoboCop. Also another issue. For most of this movie, he is really just being a robot. He's just walking. He's not having any conversations. He's n- he he's talking in like 4, 5, 6 words. He's not having
Yep.
conversations really, right? But later on, it's almost like he now remembers who he used to be, and he's more talkative without any explanation, and that's one of my problems. I don't know, man. I just got a lot of issues with this movie. I got a lot. They just don't explain enough, and I think it's because I did not grow up with this movie. I saw this movie back in the day, but
Yep.
I have not seen this movie since then. And it's no wonder they don't show this. I never turned on USA and this is on, or TBS
Yeah.
or TNT or anything. WGN. I never see RoboCop playing. I think most people know that this is not really well written, even though it
No,
was huge at that time in '87. And I'm thinking
I
like,
think
how did
the
people like this shit?
focus I think the focus was on the fact that it was a cyborg. We didn't really have too many things like that, and
Yeah,
he was a cop in Detroit. I don't know. Um, Dick's big. I guess they worked out his uh his big robot because it shows up to take out RoboCop. But RoboCop starts messing up a little bit and then starts taking some hits. But this stupid thing, like I said, is so big and has some big feet. All you gotta do is go down some stairs, and basically the whole thing ends up on its back and it can't get up.
maybe that's how it
So,
climbed up the steps. It walked up the steps before. We were talking about it getting in the elevator. Maybe it just walked up the steps somehow.
well, he couldn't handle these steps, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I guess everybody comes to take care of RoboCop because they all shine the lights on him, and I don't know if they're gonna arrest him or whatever. And of course, Lewis shows up to save him because she's the only one that cares, and because he was about to be killed again, which is terrible.
It seemed like there should have been a kill switch on RoboCop where they could have
I'm
just turned them
surprised there
off.
wasn't.
Yeah, they could
Yeah,
just turn them off because Bob is dead, right? Bob is
yeah.
gone. So now Dick should have, taken over the RoboCop program or whatever, or someone. It seemed like
He
there should have
might.
been a kill switch where they could just like, you know what, you're done. You're deactivated, sir.
There might be something like that in one of the next two movies. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Okay.
But Lewis shows up and takes him to a remote area so he can kind of repair himself. He's all messed up. He's been shot up, beat up. So this is the first time we see him. He takes off his top mask, and
Hmm.
this is like our Darth Vader moment at the end of when he's when he's about to die after fighting Luke, and
Right.
that's
I
what it
got a problem with.
reminded me of.
Yeah, it reminded me of that too, and I had a problem with that. I was like, why is he dying? I always wondered, like, why is Darth Vader dying? Because nothing happened to him. Like Luke had already beat him up, right?
Yeah,
But he was
but
standing up
he
next to the Emperor.
he was having a moment of clarity with his son that he never had, and he was just done. So he took off the respirator. He can't live without that respirator. Did you see him
Well,
burn up?
no, 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 no.
That
But
dude's
he
got like fourth degree burns.
no, no, no. Because Luke tried to help him, and he said, help me take off my mask," and he was like, "You'll die." And he was like, "Nothing can stop that anyway." So he was already dying. I never understood that, but we'll get to that when we get to Star Wars.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so basically, Dick is telling, once Clarence says that Robocop has, the confession of Dick setting up Bob to die, he gives them military grade weapons, him and his crew, Clarence crew, to go
Mm,
after Robocop,
yeah,
which, of course, why not?
yeah. These guys got
Who?
some big ass guns.
One second.
Yep.
Um, I don't understand why a company such as a robotic company is allowed to have military weapons or access to them.
I'm assuming maybe they have some type of military contract. That's the
Okay,
only thing I can
but
assume.
you should be like, if you give me access to military weapons, I should be under military watch.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be able to just say, "Hey, criminal, take these guns and go kill people." Like that's so
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah, because these criminals, it's not even like it was a gang of them. It was only four guys,
Yeah.
and they had some mental problems because the black guy, he just kept laughing at stuff that wasn't even funny. He just laughed. Like he reminded me of one of those hyenas from Roger Rabbit. Like he was just consistently laughing the whole movie, any scene that he was in.
Well, it was the '87, so maybe that's just he was a token black guy.
Yeah,
He was the
exactly.
comic relief, I guess. It was
Yeah, I
stupid.
guess so.
Um, I don't know what this dude's name is, the redhead weirdo, but he got like some kind of acid burn, and he
Hmm.
was basically looked like he was melting.
Hmm. Yo, yeah,
And
man, that guy, yeah, and that's the guy that got messed up at the gas station, also.
yeah, so Clarence sees him, and instead of stopping to help out his buddy, he just runs him over with the car. But like, I don't understand why whatever the acid was, he gets hit by a car and his whole body explodes.
Yeah,
What
I
kind
don't
of
know.
acid makes it so you explode on impact?
I don't know.
That was
I don't.
crazy. So Robocop's messing up the crew, and all he has left is Clarence and the guy with the Dagon military grade weapon. Clarence takes out Lewis, or so he thinks, but he only shoots her in her vest. You don't have a shotgun at this point, so you're not going to kill her by shooting her in her vest. I mean, you're going to hurt her and take her out. The other thing is, Clarence thinks if he drops his gun, that Robocop can't kill him. But
Mhm.
that's not part of Robocop's directive.
No. Yeah,
So, I
he's
mean,
he's
he has
not
no
like that. He's
problem.
not like that thing, that big robot thing from
Yeah.
earlier.
He goes ahead and he's like, I'm not arresting you today. You're done. But
Well, he
one
knows.
of his
Well, he knows. Like he arrested him before, and he got out. So there's no need
yeah.
of arresting him again.
So one of his associates, he drops a military gun, which was dumb because Lewis gets a hold of that. He drops a bunch of concrete and everything on top of RoboCop, but she blows that dude out of the sky. And now all we got to deal with is Clarence. But of course, RoboCop's all messed up, and so Clarence is going to try and finish him off. But one more time, Lewis takes him out, and then all RoboCop has left is to take out Dick. Now, again, he can't arrest Dick and he can't kill him because of his fourth directive, which basically is you can't deal with anybody that is a part of the company.
Hmm.
So once RoboCop tells the board and everybody what he did to Bob, he gets fired. And the second he gets fired, uh, RoboCop says thank you and shoots him.
Yep. And then just walks out. Just
Yep.
walks out casually. I'm done. And that's how it ends. With him just walking away at the end.
Yeah, he shoots the guy. He falls out of the building, and then we'll see him again in the second one.
Yeah.
Now, I know you hated this, and I get that. But I mean, this is 1987.
That is not an
Uh,
excuse.
no,
There
I
have been
agree.
there have
There's
been plenty of movies in the 80s and early 90s in the I think the Superman movies were better than this.
the first two.
I think 3 and 4 were better than this.
Really,
I did not enjoy
really.
RoboCop at all.
Uh,
I did not enjoy RoboCop at all.
what are you giving it?
I'm giving it a D.
Okay, I thought you were going E, so that's fine. I
No,
was.
I'm not going there, man. I mean, it wasn't Karate Christmas Miracle. That is the basement.
Uh,
It wasn't on that
listen,
level.
there are a lot of issues with this, but RoboCop is RoboCop. And I think the other two movies are better, and I don't know about the fourth one. So I'm gonna give some room for the other two to hopefully be better and give it a C plus.
Yeah, I'm almost positive the one that came out in 2014 is going to be better than this one. It's going to make
Well, it should be.
it
The
it has to
CGI
make
should
more
be
sense.
better.
Well, that's not my problem. It was the story. It was the story. The story didn't make any
Yeah.
sense, man. I have the CGI. I can overlook that because, like you said, it was the 80s. 87. I can overlook. I get that. Even though
No,
there are other stuff going on.
I
There's
think
Star
they
Trek
were
movies,
trying to
Star
be.
Wars.
I think they were trying to be too cute and
Hmm.
trying to do too much. When it could have just been a simple, okay, this guy's a robot, cyborg, whatever you want to call him. He's a badass and he's gonna clean up the city. But instead, you tried to give us all this futuristic stuff. You gave us this crazy bad guy. You gave him dreams, and he's gonna start. Like I said, he's gonna go and stalk his wife. There's too much going on. Let's
Hmm.
focus on, like you said. Now he's a robot. He's gonna clean up the city. Um, he's gonna help out everybody, and he's got a good partner. So,
I have
and
a
again,
hard
like you said, why is he driving a car?
No, I almost think he should just turn. He should have turned into a motorcycle. That would have been cool. See RoboCop
Well,
turn
then
into
now
a
then we're what
motorcycle.
are we Transformers?
He might as well. He might. It would have made more sense than him driving a car. He was practically a robot. Murphy should not have survived at all. And and they did, they could have said, "Well, we downloaded all of the different police officers' um, mentality into our database or something like that, and we install Murphy's mind into him, something." But that saying that Murphy somehow survived that and then not giving us an explanation as to how they survived him or revived them, no, I can't. I mean,
No, you're right.
part
You're
two
right.
and
You're
three
right.
have to be part two and three have to be better than this, man. It
I
has
hope
to.
so.
I can't believe that it can be any worse than this movie. So I think 2, 3, and the one that came out in 2014 are going to be. I'm not going to be surprised if it's way better than this one. So
Yeah, I
all
remember
right,
the 2014 one getting good reviews, so we'll see.
all right. Anything else for RoboCop, man?
No, I'm good.
All right. So what? Oh, so you said you're giving it a C plus.
Yeah.
Okay, and I gave it a D. Okay, so cool. All right. So next week we're going to review RoboCop 2. Next week on Fist Kicks and Flicks, we are reviewing Dragon Ball Evolution. Right? That's the name of it.
Yeah.
um, this week on Fist Kicks and Flicks, make sure you check out Fist Kicks and Flicks. We are covering Master Z, part of the Ip Man legacy. So that was a pretty good movie. So make sure you guys check out a review on the Martial Arts on the Network. Just look for Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, Flixx. All right. Everyone, stay safe, stay strong, stay super, and we will holler at you next week. And I will play our music.